Hey guys, Dr. Justin Marcagiani here. Today we're doing a podcast with Caleb Granger. We're going to be talking about all things stem cells today, their applications, what they can do, what they can't do. Caleb has a company that produces stem cells and provides it to clinicians throughout the country. And so we're going to be just trying to provide you guys some excellent information about some of the updated research and what we can do with stem cells. So Caleb, welcome to the podcast. How you doing?
Really well. Thanks so much for having me. Excited to talk with you.
Yeah. So first off, just give us a little history background of how you got into stem cells and then what your company does.
Sure. As we just mentioned off air, I'm in my 26th year working in spine, neuro, and orthopedic surgery. So I was
Mm,
involved in manufacturing, design, and support of the instruments, implants, and nerve avoidance hardware and software for those
mhm.
specialties. In that area, especially in neurosurgery and orthopedic surgery, we saw a big influx of stem cell based products, and I was involved in producing those really for bone growth. That happened in the late 2000s. So from kind of '08, '09 up through 2016 or 2017, was involved in stem cell based products related to spine surgery and orthopedic surgery and neurosurgery. And so that kind of got my feet wet in the idea of stem cell based products. In the last few years, there's been kind of a new discovery related to stem cells. And that is that while stem cells are regenerative, they are the healing factories in our bodies. The way they work, we now know is not what we thought for the last 20 years. We used to think that stem cells got into the body, engrafted in the body, differentiated, and created new tissue. So if you put stem cells in your knee, for instance, if all things went well, those stem cells would turn into new knee tissue, right? New cartilage. We now know that doesn't happen. We now know that the way stem cells work is they're primarily not through engraftment and differentiation, but through signaling. So they signal out, they secrete all of these proteins, growth factors, and regenerative signals. And when they do that, they're secreting it through these tiny particles called exosomes, EXOSOMES. And so stem cell exosomes are what stem cells secrete that create all the healing. They carry all the healing properties and start the healing cascade in the body. So we now know stem cells are essentially inflammatory, expensive exosome carriers. And so what we do is we derive the most potent stem cells that the human body ever produces, isolate the exosomes, all the proteins, growth factors, and regenerative signals, leave the cell, and just allow providers to implant the exosomes. And when the exosomes get to your body, they seek out any deficit from perfect and start repairing that deficit.
Interesting. So when we talk about stem cells, we have the exosome part, which is like more of the signaling, right? Is that
That's right.
what's happening there? All right. And
Yeah,
then we
it's
have the
just
different kind.
yeah. So the exosome is it's a tiny bilipid orb. So just like a cell, right? It's an offshoot of the cell, it's secreted by the cell, and it carries all the proteins, growth factors, and regenerative signals that the cell produces. Whatever the source cell produces, it's communicated by the exosome. Exosomes are how cells communicate, not just stem cells. For instance, if you go Google exosomes, Google's AI, one of their first responses is the dark side of exosomes. And of course, that's intriguing. Those are very different than therapeutic mesenchymal stem cell exosomes, which is what we derive and isolate the exosomes from.
Okay, got it. So with the types of stem cells, right? We have adult stem cells, right? We have mesenchymal ones, we have embryonic ones. Which ones are the most clinically relevant where we're seeing the best bang for your buck or the most injury repair or inflammation reduction?
What a great question. So, you absolutely can get stem cells. For instance, I'm 51 years old. If I
Yep.
wanted to take my stem cells, there's a process for doing that. I can harvest stem cells, usually from my hip or iliac crest,
Yep.
from my bone marrow. I can get my 51-year-old stem cells. Now, that's important because there's a couple things that happen as you age. One of them is the potency, the generative power of each of your stem cells drops significantly with age.
Mhm.
And the number of stem cells that you have in your body circulating also drops significantly with age. When we're kids, right, at 15, 16 years old, we have about 200 million mesenchymal stem cells circulating in our body every day.
Yep.
That's important because that is essentially our gross regenerative capability is those 200 million stem cells. We create new stem cells every day as well as a percentage of all new cells that we create. And each of those stem cells is super potent. when you're 15, 16 years old. It's really regenerative. As a result, if you break your arm when you're 16, not only does it heal back to where it was before, it heals back even stronger than it was before. That's because
Right.
our gross regenerative capacity far outstrips the degeneration that we face, either genetically, environmentally, or self inflicted, right? Degeneration. We can always overcome that degeneration. Over time, our number of stem cells that we have drops precipitously. The potency of each of the stem cells drops precipitously, and the percentage of new cells that are stem cells that we produce drops precipitously. Those three things. So that by the time I'm 50 years old, usually a healthy 50-year-old will have 50 to 60 million stem cells circulating, not
Right.
200 million. And each of those stem cells is going to be significantly lower potency, significantly less generative power. As a result, it's typically what you would expect from a 50-year-old. Right? We don't heal. If you get
Right.
injured, now suddenly you have a lifelong injury for years. It just doesn't heal. That's because our generative capacity is now being outstripped, it's now being overwhelmed by the degeneration that we face. What we can do reproducibly now is we can raise the body's gross regenerative potential and overcome degeneration. So actually get to a point of healing compared to the generation that you have and no longer degenerating. So we do that by giving the body systemic stem cell exosomes through a variety of ways and just get remarkable results for all kinds of conditions.
Okay, got it. And so with the so when you're doing an injection of stem cells, it's stem cells and exosomes, or are you separating those treatments up?
Yeah, so we do produce stem cells, pure umbilical derived 0 day old mesenchymal stem cells.
Yep.
You also, your original question, I got lost on a tangent there. Your original question was talking about that. I was describing adult mesenchymal stem cells, right? And how they have
Right.
lower potency, lower generative power. But you can do that. You can get your own, you can put them back into a specific area. You can also do, you mentioned embryonic. That's another one.
Yes.
Embryonic is absolutely illegal in the US. That has been made illegal since the 90s. And so there's very, very limited ways that that can be used in research capacity. And even then, there's a lot of, potentially rightfully so, a lot of restrictions on how those are used. What
Yep.
we do is after a healthy, full term delivered pregnancy in the US, we have mothers donate their placental and umbilical material. If it's not donated, it is treated as it's there's a very special mechanism that needs to be done at hospital expense. So hospitals don't make money on either of these options, but they work with usually nonprofit tissue procurement facilities that are American Association of Tissue Bank and FDA accredited and audited. There's a super rigorous process for inclusion for a mother to be able to donate her placental material. For instance, mothers can't have even a one tattoo. That's an
Wow.
exclusion criteria.
Really?
And
Hmm.
so, yeah, there's that. There's, for instance, there's 300 plus diseases that are vetted for. And then if that all passes, then they're able to donate their placental material. We get the stem cells that same day from that live tissue, placental and umbilical material, and then isolate the exosomes from those stem cells. So those are basically perinatal, they're called mesenchymal stem cells from placental and umbilical material. The placental material, those stem cells have for the last 9 months been processing everything that was needed to create an entire perfect human being, right? That's been their job. The umbilical material is one step down from that. So we know that they have less proteins, growth factors, and regenerative signals than the placental mesenchymal stem cells. They produce less of those things. Even lower than that, on kind of on the pyramid in terms of having less proteins, growth factors, and regenerative signals, is bone marrow derived stem cells. Then there's adipose derived, so fat cell derived stem cells, and then stem cell exosomes. You think about those things, the exosomes carry the proteins, growth factors, and regenerative signals that the cell produces. An adipose, a fat cell, never had the job to generate perfect heart, perfect lungs, perfect cartilage, perfect bone, perfect skin, right? It was a fat cell. And so naturally, it won't have the generative capacity of a placental mesenchymal stem cell. So, it makes sense and indeed is shown in science. We can look at which proteins, growth factors, and regenerative signals come out and are in each exosome. And we do that for every lot that we produce. Those are 98% have the quantity that we say they have on the packaging and are loaded with the proteins, growth factors, and regenerative signals that we have tested for and know are in there in what quantities. So it's really a quantifiable and provable, science based thing where we know exactly what we're putting in. And so,
So go ahead.
yeah, so we only use placental and umbilical derived mesenchymal stem cell exosomes.